The chopper.
Peace, peace, peace. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? It's Mr. Pringles the Barber, a.k.a. AlwaysKuttn Ted Honcho. I am him, not them. I am him, not them. So on today's episode, we're chopping it up with the undeniable force in the world of spoken word, ArtisticGenius. She's not the founder, not just the founder. She's the heart behind Say Word, which is the monthly spoken word event that has become a compelling movement. Her style is intentional, powerful, and she's in a lane of her own. And now she's getting ready to drop her first poetry book. Yeah. And trust me, she's about to put her signature in the concrete of the world of spoken word. So we about to tap in. We're going to tap in. I want y'all to sit back as we dive in the mind and the mission and magic of ArtisticGenius. So before I have you introduce yourself and do all that, because we've been waiting to do this. Sit down. We've been waiting to do this sit down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we've been waiting to do this sit down. So for those who might be new to your work, how would you describe who ArtisticGenius is at the core? Who you are at the core? Space. You're looking for a studio. You're looking for a salon space. Whatever space you're looking for, we have it here at AK Studios. We have double, single suites. We have a great environment, peaceful, chill environment, your type of environment. We have plenty outside parking, 24-hour access. It's so much value in these studios and these suites and this office space, whatever you want to call it. They are going fast, so if you're interested, text studio to 614-390-2007. 614-390-2007. Man, come on board so we can go ahead and build this dope environment together here at AK Studios.
Well, first, I feel like I look at myself as just an individual with a soul who is just on this earth to do the things that God called me to do. Mm-hmm. I think second, I am a creative director. I'm an artist, a visual artist, spoken word poet, author, painter. I'm so many different things like under one roof, for a main purpose. So yeah, that's the little gist of it.
That's
yeah.
a little gist.
It's a little gist of it.
Man, you got a lot of different facets to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what intentionally drew you to the world of poetry and the spoken word?
So it started young. I was 13 when I started writing. It was an outlet. A lot of people where I come from, we don't have a lot of positive outlets. I grew up in the projects, and
You didn't grow up in the projects.
I grew up in the projects.
You would never know that.
I grew up in the projects.
But you can't. But you're strong. So
from 1996 until like 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was at.
Where you from?
I'm from Campbell, Youngstown area.
Okay.
So in Youngstown, there's like a small township called Campbell, and in the 90s, it was the gutter for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot. So I think my environment, I always knew I was different. It was just something that I felt that I didn't really quite fit in. I tried to, but I didn't quite fit in. I just felt like I was like kind of set apart from other people. So writing was my outlet to just honestly stay sane. And I didn't understand what I was doing, but I was just journaling for real. And then it started to rhyme eventually, and that's how poetry came about for real.
Do you think, was there an isolated moment that actually sparked that journey though? Like, you just...
So I think what sparked like the performing poet part of me is I graduated high school by the grace of God, because I was not like the academic kid that people would think I was. You know what I'm saying? So I graduated high school, and then I went to YSU to study art education actually, and there was a poetry event, I think that was going on campus, and then I saw a couple other poets that were really into it, and I just thought it was so cool. And when I was writing the poems, I was like, I want to get up and perform it, but I was kind of like nervous. And the first time I performed was at YSU, and sat down on my phone, shaking, nervous in front of all of these people.
What was the capacity in there though?
I don't even know. I think I like zoned it out for real. I was just looking down the whole time. I maybe like 40. maybe like 40
40
people.
feel like 40,000 in that
Yeah,
space. Yeah.
yeah, and you know, I was amongst people who had been doing it for a while,
Okay.
and you know, I had some people that you know kind of took me under their wing, and I just fell in love with it. The response that I got from my poem was just like, wow, like you should keep doing this, or you know, you haven't done this before. So that empowered me to keep doing it because I was like, okay, there's something here. So I started to explore that, study. I studied a lot of great poets and just watched how they performed and the poise that they had. And
Okay.
then I started to really like perfect the way I wrote. And I started traveling everywhere doing it.
You made that sound so easy. So the reason why I say you made it sound easy is because what about the people that don't get that response their first time? Like, do you think you would still be the same if you didn't get the response you got that first time you did?
I think that if my ego was involved, I don't think I would be the same because, you know, yeah, it made me feel good. It made my ego feel good but it also made me feel good that like, dang, I wrote this about my life and, you know, people actually took to it. You know, somebody was inspired by it. But I think that, you know, as young as I was, if I got a like pin drop in the room, nobody was clapping, then I think that it probably would have challenged me a little bit more like, okay, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And that goes back to like, you know, that confidence and that security and like knowing who you are. But at that time, I didn't know who I was. I had no idea. I was 19. I didn't know who I was. I was just doing stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so can you share the inspiration behind launching Say Word?
Say Word.
Yeah.
So I've only been in Columbus for 2 years.
Okay.
But it's been a crazy like just I mean a accelerating year. 2 years. So I was inspired by just coming down here. Like my family, you know, is kind of rooted in Columbus a little bit. My brother and my sister lived here for a long time. So I was always in Columbus, but I didn't really, you know the surrounding creative like world of Columbus. So when I came here after deployment, I needed to change, but I didn't want like too far of a change. I wanted to stay close to my family a little bit. And I came here and I just saw a need, honestly. I saw a need in the poetry community. I saw open mics, but I didn't see an open mic that was specifically for poetry that brought the kind of value that I knew I could bring.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just inspired by that, and I felt like God was telling me to get back to it because it's not the first event that I did.
It's
That I
not the first
curated.
you did here? Or
No,
you
just
saying
in
just in
general. I used to
general?
curate in Youngstown too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it still had the same title? Say it was
No, actually, it was called Speak Up Sundays, and
Speak Up
me and
Sundays.
my sister Jocelyn did that together, and it was open mic for everybody, for dancers, for singers, for rappers, like everything. So I think it sparked a little bit of that, like okay, I want to get back to doing that. But Say Word just really came from like a thought I had in my head, and I put it in my notes like years ago, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but Say Word is supposed to be something. I originally thought it was gonna be a podcast, and
It still can.
was like, no, it just kept coming back to poetry. And yeah,
Okay.
we got an extension of couch conversations with Say Word, but yeah.
It's amazing how you can think of something it be years in the past. It's just like a plant, it be growing.
Yeah.
You don't see it growing, it just out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I could use this now.
Yeah.
Reflecting on Say Word now at this point, has it met or even surpassed your expectations? You know,
Absolutely. I mean, I knew it was going to be something, but you know, for me, it's like I can be a perfectionist, and when I have a vision, I want to do it with my whole heart. I never want to leave a stone unturned. I always want to execute in the best way possible and do it with excellence. So I think with that in my mind, I just wanted it to be great, but I didn't know that the community would take to me the way it did. And I didn't know that the space and the connection with the owner of the space was going to be what it was. Because it originally was supposed to be somewhere else. It was supposed to be at a coffee shop.
it was supposed to be at a coffee shop.
It was supposed to be at a coffee shop, a black-owned coffee shop in Columbus.
So what took place for that to transition into where it's at now? Like without you not
Yeah, without saying too much.
yeah.
So originally we had I had this, I was looking at venues and I was like, I wanna do it with my people. So of course I'm looking at black owned spots and I say, why not mix like a coffee vibe? Like I wanted to do like that chill, like poetry vibe. And so I reached out to a lot of people and they had got back to me. I went and looked at the space and talked numbers, talked about the vision. They
It
said,
made
let's do
sense.
it. And the contract changed on me last minute. Like 2 weeks before the event.
It was like God work.
like 2 weeks before the event, and I was like losing my shit. Like
Yeah.
because I was just like, what? Like there were some other people that got their hands in it and I felt like, it was like a little bit of I don't want to say money grab, but I felt like the intention was not right.
Okay.
The intention was not right, but they also didn't understand my intention maybe because I wasn't doing it to make money. You know what I'm saying? So I think that they just didn't have the heart for it, which is cool. So met Ludi through, shout out to Adamela Ludi, did an event called Bright Black that Adamela was over, and I was a feature for that event. Came in that space, and I said, yeah, this is it. Talked to the owner. She said, yeah.
So you good with energy? That's what it is.
Yeah.
You moving off of energy.
Yeah, for sure. And Ludi do too. Like I think that she didn't even, I think she maybe thought about it, like just trying to get to know who I was. But she told me that, if I didn't feel that your energy was good, you would have never had it because I don't work with everybody. So I respect her for that.
So beyond poetry, what other passions or interests do you pursue that feed your creative passion expression?
I like to pour into people. And I really do like working with youth, at-risk youth, just really pouring into people that I feel like need it or that don't know how to find it. So I've had a passion for working with kids for a very, very long time. And I think that drives a lot of what I do because long term, I'll be an art therapist. So I'm studying a lot for that. And I want to be able to use my art to heal people, like genuinely heal people, like how they do cognitive therapy. Like art is a therapeutic form, whether it's poetry, painting. I want to be able to use that in a clinical way to be able to help people heal through PTSD and other mental traumas. So I think that that's what drives me, but also like I continuously think about like where I came from and there's somebody else out there like me that came from the same places that I came from. Maybe that not experience the same things that I experienced, but like how can I be a vessel to be able to impact that person, that kid, that adult, because sometimes I don't realize I'm impacting adults the way I have or, the gift has or say word has. But, people tell me all the time and, it constantly just like, all right, I got to keep doing this. No matter how tired I am, I got to keep doing this.
Yeah, they say winners still do even when they don't feel like it.
Listen,
Yeah.
a lot of times I don't feel like it.
Yeah, I definitely,
Yeah.
I definitely can feel that.
Yeah.
You explained to me what we said art therapist. For the people that actually don't know, could you go a little bit more in detail with like what does that consist of? Like because I understand what it is now, but I know at first I didn't know what that was. I
Right.
didn't even know that
Me
was a
either.
major.
As an artist, for a long
Okay.
time, I didn't know that existed because had I known, I would have started college with that.
Okay.
So art therapy is like, how they do psychotherapy, like
Okay.
cognitive behavioral therapy is what, helps you change like your like brain patterns and things like that. They have EMDR therapy, different types of therapy for different types of things.
Okay.
So art therapy or just art in general, there's so much research behind like art healing the brain. If you notice, have you ever been to like a sip and paint or have you ever just sat and painted how calm you are? Because it's sending like signals to your brain and it's truly healing your brain. So a person that does that constantly, you healing yourself without even knowing it. Poetry, which is why you feel that like when you leave say word or you come to, you just feel so like
Relieved,
lifted,
yeah,
relieved,
yeah.
and just
you got a lot of weight off.
yeah. So that's pretty much what it is. It's just another form of therapy, and it's just a way. It's a tool in the way that you use it. So there might be like a clinical way that I have to like okay, structure like a painting assignment that I would give a client, you know, in order to like spark up certain memories and like, you know, just kind of calm them in a psychological way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see it like it may be a kid that may be dealing with some type of trauma and has a hard time articulating what it is. So you would have them draw something or paint something.
Yeah. And so like, because I started painting very, very young. That's what I first started with. Before writing, I was painting. Didn't know I could paint. I just started painting. And then like, I realized that I could replicate anything that I saw. And then I was painting shoes for people. I was painting, I mean, prom was like, I was the person to go to for the suits. You want your suit done, you come to me. So Artistic Genius, the name has been around for a long time. But as a kid, not understanding that I was healing myself, but I was just, art really saved me. Basketball, yes, but art really, really helped me like heal myself in ways that I had no idea that I was doing.
So it's more than just having an eye for the art. You can have actually the feeling for the art, like because poetry is not like you saying painting. You can have an eye for it.
Anybody can be an artist, and I truly mean that. Anybody can be an artist because the world, society deems anything as art these days. Like an invisible canvas can sell for $1 million, and you just have to talk about.
Powerful.
All you have to do is talk about what this canvas means. You have to paint a story in your mind to these people that got the money, and you sell this painting for $1 million. This is true facts. And you can be an artist. You can throw some paint on the canvas and sell it for thousands of dollars.
One strip of paint on there.
Just by how you market it. Anybody can be an artist, but you know, you gotta also have that purpose impactful factor to be able to change lives.
You got to be able to breathe life into it.
Yeah.
People got to see you make it come to life.
Yeah.
It's like, I know just doing the spoken word and just understanding that it's really not, I mean, it's about what you say, but it's more about how you say it. You can bring words to life. It could be as basic as it, you can write it basic, but if you put the life into it, it's totally different.
Because you can write a poem and just be like, you can go up there and be like, I don't know, roses are red, violets are blue. But if I go up there and say,
but if you let your hair down,
red, violets are blue, oh, they gonna feel me if I say that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all about how you convey it. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you perform it, present it to your audience.
Man, hey, because I tell you, when you let your hair down, I know what's about to happen. The lion's coming out.
Yeah.
So let's get on this journey and the work. You're on the verge of releasing your first poetry book. Is the first one?
No. This is my third book.
This your third book?
This is my third book from like just me as the author, and then I have 2 other publications that are like a co-author situations.
So what inspired this one versus the other 2?
So my last book was a book about my life. I naturally write in a poetic form, but that one was more like detailed, like I wanted to tell my life story. The 2 books before that were poetry books. And so this book in particular, I got a revelation that was back in like 2022. And once again, just a phrase, another word. But I went through a lot in between 2020 and 2021. So I'll tell you how Love After Death came about. So in 2020, I lost my sister to cancer. October 2020, she passed away from cancer. She was battling it for a while. 2021, now fast forward 2021, July of 2021, my brother was killed. So, but I also was going through a divorce. So a lot of people don't know that, but, you know, not even to give too much energy to it, but in June of 2021, I went through some crazy things that, you know, forced me to leave that environment and make some drastic changes in my life. Because to me, those losses were back to back to back. I mean, in a 9-month span, I lost everything that was familiar to me. So, and then I was also getting ready for a deployment to go to a base that was a mortuary base, death, right? So that's all like that was happening in my life was just like death after death. And I'm like, what, God, what are you trying to tell me?
And 9 months, something is being born also. Something is being, yeah.
But I didn't understand it quite then because I was just bitter. I was angry. I wanted revenge. I wanted, it was just so many emotions that I was going through at that time that I was being stubborn. I can be a very stubborn person. Being a Leo, or just in general, that pride of like a Black woman, just being like very, very prideful and not wanting to commit to what God was trying to tell me to commit to, because I was still going through my purging process. So I felt like when I heard Love After Death come to my mind, I wrote it down, Love After Death. And I knew it was supposed to be like a book. But I'm like, but what is this trying to tell me? Like, what are you actually saying? And what I got from it was spiritual death of yourself, physical death of loved ones, and death of relationships, romantic relationships that were familiar to you. And I said, okay, now I need to frame this in a way that makes sense, because I know this is going to help somebody and it's going to be powerful. So I said I can incorporate poetry and self-help, because after that, I was really trying to find myself and find myself in a new way for real, like outside of all of those things, because, and the people, because I love my brother and my sister dearly, but they were not mine to keep. And I was holding on to like just they took, like, God, you did this
and
to
then
me.
And also with them leaving, a part of you dies too. So
Absolutely.
another part of you has to be reborn to move forward.
And that's the point right there. So I was like, okay, I had went to see this spiritual counselor, and God really led me to her, because like is in a supernatural way. Now, she believed in God, but she does like psychic things, and I would never go see a psychic. I grew up like Christianity.
Yeah.
What? You don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't tap it. But I also understood that I couldn't just focus on one avenue of like where I could pull my strength from, whether that was the Quran, the Bible, whatever. I needed something else. I needed more direction. And she told me some things that blew my mind, and the track that I was supposed to take with my life. And ever since she told me to do some of the things that I had been doing and pouring into my life, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, she told me to focus on them core areas of my life. And when I tell you, my life, the moment I started doing that stuff, changed in such a way. Obviously, I started a routine of like, without giving too much of the book away, prayer and meditation every single morning. I did the same routine for a year. There was nothing in my life that could happen. I don't care if my phone was ringing, my building was burning down. I had to pray and meditate every single morning. And sometimes I was doing it for 20, 30 minutes.
It set the tone for your day.
The day, your life.
Yeah.
Your life. So like, still doing that routine to this day, but I was so radical with it that everything had to stop, because I needed to die to myself, because even with the situation with, being divorced, like a lot of that stuff, I can't put all that on. A lot of this, the reason why I was even in that position, you gotta, take ownership of your own stuff.
Accountability.
So take accountability for your own stuff. Leave everything to the rest of the people that ain't got nothing to do with me. Whatever she did to me ain't got nothing to do with me. I need to focus on my own healing and what God is telling me to do. So Love After Death came from really just like, how can I, after so much death, how can I love after this? How can I love myself? How can I open myself up to be loved by somebody else? Because a lot of things transpire even after those situations that really required me to. The reason why these things are happening in your life is because you're not loving yourself enough. And everybody ain't got everybody can't say that.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
And then like a lot of the times people be looking for other people to compensate for the love that they lack for themselves.
Yeah, we all did it. We all have done it, because it's like, who has came into this world? And I get that a lot of parents have, respect to the people that have poured into their kids how to love themselves. But a lot of, like some parents didn't know how to do that. They didn't know how to do that for themselves. So how can they do that for you? Sit you down and like, tell you that you cute, you beautiful, all of these things. But like, this here, like read this book on self-help, read it, let's go to therapy. A lot of us wasn't taught that, so we learning these things late in life. I didn't start going to therapy until like 29, 30 years old. And so that's when I started to undo a lot of my trauma because I was afraid to go to therapy. I didn't understand why I needed somebody else to tell me about my life.
Because it's crazy, man. Because I thought about it this way, like that therapist, we like the driver. We're in the driver's seat, but sometimes you need to be a passenger of your life so you can see everything. So that therapist is almost it's like the passenger.
Yeah.
It's gonna see everything that you don't see.
That's just like having a partner. If you with your partner, your partner or person in your life, people in your life that are closest to you are your mirror.
Yeah.
If they tell you some stuff is wrong with you and you keep hearing it and you don't take heed to that, then you don't want to change because it's like, okay, this person is my life for a reason. Even if it didn't work out, they're trying to show me what I need to change and what I need to, work on. So I think a therapist is your mirror and be able to, my therapist has helped me really, really come to terms with like why I do some of the things and why I interpret some of the things I do and some of my behaviors and just like, how that changed me in like a clinical way. And also learning to be a therapist has blown my mind. Blown my mind. And it requires me. I am required now. I have such a huge responsibility of my life now that I can't just do anything. I have to be very careful with my tongue because I know what I speak comes to fruition.
Facts. I definitely understand that. You
Yeah.
got to be careful with your word. Say word.
That is, I had to be very careful with how I even do say word. Like this ain't no, I don't just do this just because it's like, oh, this is fun, like poetry. Yeah, we have a good time, but like this is an assignment.
You said something that I never knew there was a spiritual therapist.
Yeah, she does. She does like, it's like I guess some people would call it a life coach, but she incorporates spiritual aspects, whether it's from the Bible, from Buddha. She incorporates that
all of
into
that in one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yep. So, what emotions or reflections do you expect for people to get, like with engaging with the book? Like, what do you want them to get from it?
I want them to get whatever they can get from it, like whatever they feel. Like, take what you need and leave the rest. Take what you need and leave the rest. Whatever does not apply to you, just let it fly. But if there is something in there that resonates with you, which I am very confident that it will, because we have all experienced death. We have all experienced fighting to love ourselves or not loving ourselves or feeling so strongly about ourselves that we do love ourselves and we ain't taking no shit. But, I would like people to really like just take the book in for what it is. Like, forget about who wrote the book. Just whatever you need from that book, just take whatever you need and just, that's just how I feel about it. I think there will be a lot of emotions in the book, I think that there will be some sadness. There will be, some joy, at the end of it, because it's like, I'm telling you directly, no fluff, everything that I've been through and how I got through it, how I continue to get through it. Cause it don't just stop at just cause I wrote a book now. I'm just like, no, I'm not a guru or like an expert at life. I am an expert at healing myself though. Now I know how to do it. When I'm down in the dumps, you know what I'm saying? I know how to pick myself back up. So, yeah.
Instead of looking for someone else to pick you back up.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, it's more about filtering out the book to fit the reader for where they can find their benefit.
Yeah. And I thought a lot about my audience. Like, who is my audience? They talk a lot about your target audience. And I think that will happen the way that it's supposed to happen. I can't be like, okay, this demographic is going to be my audience. This age group is going to be. No, I think that I'm going to put it out in the universe. I'm going to do the best that I can to push it. And whoever it lands on, it lands on. and it's supposed to be like that.
I mean, you very magnetic, so it's gonna bring the right people in anyway.
Thank you.
You're gonna pull that in anyway. That's easy. So balancing out that monthly event, writing, personal life, what obstacles have you faced juggling these responsibilities, and how you manage them all at once?
Well, obstacles. I mean, listen, shoot, I experienced the obstacles that the next person do. Financial loss, shoot, frustration, stress. Like, you know, sometimes I get really, because I want to do everything with excellence, and you know,
That's how
and I want to do everything perfect, and everything can always be perfect. So I think that getting out of that perfection mindset and really like just letting things be what they are for real. And I work on that daily. So I think that an obstacle would be like, I am the obstacle. I am the obstacle. So getting out of my own way has been the main obstacle. But I go through regular stuff. But the difference between me is like I just have a willpower that I ain't no quitter. I don't give up. You ain't gonna never find me in the same place that you left me. I know my power, and I know like, and I haven't always been strong. I've been weak at times, but I know how to pull. I know where to pull from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. With that, what you just said, it sounds very prideful in that space too. And a lot of times, I mean, I'm like that too, but sometimes I be feeling like that work against me.
Sometimes they do.
It do, you know, because you don't know when to quit. Sometimes you might, it ain't, and you don't, I wouldn't say it's quit. It's like, when is the lesson learned?
Oh, yeah. I have, oof, listen, you don't know how many times I have repeated the same lesson over and over because I'm stubborn. Because I can be stubborn until it starts to hurt me to the point where it's like, all right, now. Like, I keep healing from the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, you know, as you come to know yourself and the journey, I think it's all a part of the journey. I mean, not going through the same lessons over and over. I do not recommend. But, you know, for those of us who are stubborn in those areas, then I think that, you know, you gotta take your whooping. You know, sometimes God gonna whoop you, or whoever you serve is gonna whoop you. And you got to take that L and then pick yourself back up and figure out like, all right, now how can I go back to the drawing board and never do that again?
Yeah, because actually it's not even a loss, it's a gain for the next situation, because it's the experience that's going to help you get through the next situation.
Yeah.
I just feel like every situation prepares you for the next one.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like everything that I've been through, there is nothing else. And I'm not saying I'm not going to go through hard times, but the way that I got hit, the months that I told you, I just feel like right now, like, you can't touch me.
I know. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
It ain't nothing you can do because I'm going to keep going. I am. So that's Love After Death. That's Say Word Wednesdays. That's anything that I put my heart into.
It's designed to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, to stop would be the ultimate death. Yeah, like, so when you sit down and write, where do you find your inspiration, and are there particular experiences and emotions that drive your creativity?
I think that for a long time I've been a writer who has wrote from pain. And you do something to me, listen, you're gonna get the best poem that ever graced the stage.
Well, I feel like I'm looking in the mirror right now.
Listen, you do something to me, you do something to the people around me. Oh my God. Yeah, it's scary for you. Because the way that I can put my words together can be lethal. But I've also learned to grow and write from a place of like joy, happiness, and like other people's experiences. So I think that I'm inspired by everything. This is inspirational. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shoot that we did is inspirational. I can be inspired by anything. So I try not to limit myself. And I try to tap into, you know, other places other than pain and trauma.
So when you first started writing, it probably like started from pain.
Mm-hmm.
That was the root of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you got better and got more, familiar with the craft, you started to be able to venture out and write for joy, other people's pain, and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Definitely, I wrote from pain, and I still write from pain because, and a lot of people don't want to hear poems like that, but it's like, no, I'm going to tell my story because somebody else is waiting on it. So regardless, if you're tired of hearing the poems, turn the mic off or turn the phone down, whatever you got to do. But I think that is a part of, if I stop telling my story, then like who's going to be able to be helped from that situation? Nobody.
I was told that too, because just doing the spoken word, sometimes I'll be like, damn, I don't want to say this. I don't want to do this for him again. But you'll be forgetting that there's people in the room that was never in the room the first time you did it.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. For those aspiring to make their mark in the poetry and spoken word, what advice would you offer based on your experiences?
Trying to make their mark in the poetry world.
Just beginning. Yeah.
Like, I think that you just write. Don't worry about how it sounds. Don't edit it too much. Just write from what you're feeling and connect yourself with people that you can trust, that you can share that work with, that's going to actually give you, some sound advice on like, how you can get better. Like, go show up to poetry shows and just practice. Just go to open mics and just show up and be in the community and just keep writing for real because it don't happen overnight. A lot of people want to have specific cadence or specific confidence on stage, but we all, well, let me not speak for us all, but I still get nervous when I perform. I still stumble.
You do not get nervous.
I still forget
no,
words.
You don't, man. You do not get nervous.
Yes,
I ain't seen
do.
a nervous bone up there.
Yes, I do. I really, really do. But I'm not so much nervous to spit the poem because that's, that is like, that's a, what do you call that? Muscle memory.
Yeah.
But I'm more so nervous. Like I want to do it with the right intentions.
Okay.
So I think that's where the nerves come from. Yeah.
I was talking to, it was an instructor I had, and we was talking about public speaking, poetry and all that, just being, being in front of the crowd. And she was like, a lot of people get nervous that's been doing it for years. Mm-hmm. She said, however, the thing is being able to turn that nervous energy and change it in your mind to just being excited.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, because when you get up there, you thinking nervous. As soon as you think nervous, it's like you feeding it.
And as soon as you say I'm nervous, that's one thing I will not do. I will not get up on a stage and say I'm nervous.
No, but people do that.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't understand the power. Like, your words got power, so sometimes you're not really thinking. It's just like, oh my God, y'all, I'm so nervous. But the moment you do that, you make yourself even more nervous.
You're right. Because people might not even see. You could be nervous and people don't know that you're nervous.
Yeah.
But once you say it, they're going to see it.
Yeah. You're going to see the nerves all over you. Now you're shaking. So, yeah. But no, I still get nervous. I mean, I'm human at the end of the day. Now, some people that can go up there and just be like, they don't feel that. But I ain't that person. I'm going to keep it 100.
You know who used to get up and speak that he wasn't even really a poet, but man, that DMX.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Crazy. And he would say the most profound things. That's why I love people like DMX or people who are going through some things that like other people might judge them for, like because they be so powerful. I don't know if you ever heard of Leandra Johnson.
No, but I'm gonna look her up.
Look her up. She's a gospel singer, but when I tell you, I love Leandra Johnson, but she's going through a battle right now with addiction, but she is so powerful, and I love to follow people like that because they gonna be the ones that pour into your life for real. They gonna be the ones that actually leave a mark and make you remember them because they were so powerful.
Because they wear their pain so well.
Yeah, it's just like Tupac.
Yeah,
Tupac was
that's my favorite person.
Was so powerful, like outside of just the poetics of him and just his poise and just like how he carried himself. Like people that's going through stuff, you need to be mindful and just like don't put your mouth on them type of people.
Yeah,
because
it's like watch what you say about them.
Yeah, because it's a dog in them telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
those people I see as it's like you. I'm gonna say, for instance, some people wear their spirit on the outside. and some people wear their spirit on the inside. They're afraid to let it out because it's like your body. You just is just a vehicle. But the people that wear their spirit on the outside, you can tell.
Yeah.
Like when you get up there, you can tell that's on. I think there was where was you at? Brooklyn?
Philly.
It was Philly when you did the one about your brother.
Oh no. That was a recent one. You talking about that was in Akron.
That was in Akron. Man, goosebumps.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
Yeah. It's a feel. I can't explain the feeling. It's like you know you're at your peak of spirituality, if that makes sense, in certain, like the way you perform certain pieces. And I knew I was way up there when I did that piece. And when I got done, I knew what it was going to do because of how I performed it. Because I wasn't there. I was not there.
That's what I'm saying.
So
the spirit was there.
That's what this phase of my life right now that's what it's going to look like continuously, because I'm just in a higher place right now that I can't really describe too much. That my work is just, it's different.
It's like that blank canvas that you was just talking about.
Yeah.
It's like that blank canvas.
Yeah.
So let's speak about that loss and legacy. Looking ahead, what is your ultimate goal or vision for your work and its impact on the world?
I think long term, and when I say long term, when I'm no longer here, I want my work to live and breathe through people continuously. That's why I'm always producing, because if I'm not leaving anything here, then what am I doing it for? So I would like my work to really transform lives, and just like, I know I say impact and heal, but like that is my mission. So that's all I want for real. Like I don't need to be the poet who's just all about the hype. I don't need to be on every single stage. I want to be on the stages that I'm supposed to be on. I'm not going to take every single gig because it ain't purpose in every single gig. So I just really want to leave behind a legacy that is like, man, that was such a time. Like, she brought something that was just incredible that helped me through this. You know what I'm saying? That's really all I want for real. I ain't trying to be out here like, yeah, do I want to get paid for my gift? Yes. Am I getting paid for my gift? Yes. But that's not my end goal for real. You know what I'm saying?
And it's because you're not, when you're in that space of passionate about what you're doing and you're not looking at it like a monetary gain, that's when you gain.
Yeah.
And the legacy part, like, it's easier now than it was before because you got content. You got, like, I always speak about social media. When I was younger, you didn't have all that.
Right.
Everything as far as, so you say you got baby pictures and stuff like that. You get to look back and see where you came from. My grandmother's house burnt down, so we don't have no baby pictures. We got like one.
Wow.
So when we try to look back, there is nothing. So I understand what you're saying. Like, that's why I do what I do. So when I do leave, I know that my kids can always go back and be like, okay, that was my dad. And I try to make sure I get as much as content, videos, and all those things for them. Because when people are just doing, I'm like, damn, y'all got all these baby pictures. I don't have no memories. So just think about living a life with no memories of your roots, except for your mother or somebody, speaking about that. But yeah, I understand the legacy part is big.
It's important. It's really important to me. And I don't have children, but I do have a lot of nieces and nephews who are looking at me as, that example to set. And it's like, not even just in the creative world, but how can I help y'all figure out that, like, you can do whatever you want in this life. You got free will. You can either do it the negative way or you could do it the positive way. And you have an example. Like, I'm here. You can't say you don't got no example, because I'm right here and I'm showing you exactly how you can thrive in this life. So, yeah.
You got choices.
Yeah.
You wake up every day with a new one.
And you got 24 hours
You got
for the
24.
haters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got 24 hours.
Yeah.
How do you process and cope with losses or setbacks in your life, both personally and professionally? Like, what's your way of dealing with that?
Prayer, meditation, routine, my art. I have to do this. You know, I cannot stop doing this because part of me will die. Like that's how strongly I feel about it. Like when I don't feel like I'm creating, I'm not even the same person. I'm agitated. I need to do this. So I would say, yeah, that's how I get through it. Family, you know, having a circle, whether it's small, big, you know, being able to pull from the people that are around you and really like lean on them when you need that support. You know, some of us isolate, like those who are prideful and got ego, big ego. Sometimes when you're going through it, you don't want to reach out. You go into isolation mode. But I learned that it's very important for me to, you know, lean on the people that are around me. So, yeah.
How do you deal with leaning on people? You know, you got to be mindful of who you lean on, though.
Oh, yeah, already.
Because, yeah.
You have to be. I mean, I got the same circle. I don't really, I'm very big on energy. So, like, I don't let too many people in. And it could be a bad thing because I might miss a blessing in a friendship but I've been through so much in life, but I can see like what you here for. And I hate that about me sometimes, but if you have a spiritual gift, you can see who really there for you and who really there just to latch on to you for a specific reason. So a lot of my circle, you know, I got a lot of associates and people I connect with, but I don't have a lot of like friends that I'd be like, that's my friend. You know what I'm saying? Me and you don't talk every day, but I feel like you my friend. Like, you know, when we talk, you know what I'm saying? It's a different type of level and we connect on, you know, a spiritual level. So there's not too many people that I let in.
It's like when we was talking the other day when I was talking about being an empath. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a minute to understand what that was. It sounded like a bad thing, but then I realized it was actually a good thing, and I embodied it.
Yeah.
You can really feel where people's heart posture is. Like
you so in tune. It's just like, even when you don't want to feel it, it's just like, what is going on right now? And with doing things like say where I soak up so much energy, and you know it's important to pour back into yourself, but the people that I'm surrounded with, like my sisters, you know, those are my people I lean on. Even my parents, like, you know, I just keep my circle small for real. You know, because you never know who really there for. You could tell in the long run, but you know, if you keep them, but somebody that's trying to just be all in like too soon, no, you got a bad motive. Because what you want to be around me like that for?
That's more like a transactional relationship.
You see what I got on me. You see what I got on me, and you want some of that, or you want to be attached to that, and I see that before you even tell me anything.
And you got to be able to differentiate what is being. It's so many things around you when you got a gift. Remember we was talking about the gift. Everybody has a gift, but sometimes envy can arise if you found your gift and the other person hasn't found their gift, or your people around you,
or they just ain't got the confidence to see it through.
Exactly.
You don't know how to execute it. You know what I'm saying? So like, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. I mean, I'm experiencing some of that right now, but the way I look at it is like a lot of people want to be the hype. You know what I'm saying? Because social media has allowed that to just like everybody want to do this, go viral. You know, I want my work to be seen, but like I don't have intentions to just go like viral or be this particular figure that people are like naming me to be. God told me to do this stuff. I'm just doing what I'm told. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are triggered by that type of energy or that type of gift, or you know, it's like instead of just saying you inspire me, how can I do this? How
I called you and
you tell me, you know what, you inspire me. And you ask me questions of like, how do you do it? You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that because that's how you know when somebody really genuine for real. Because it's like we ain't gotta be against each other. I'm not competing with nobody. I promise to God I'm not.
I promise too.
Like, I promise I'm not, because, trying to do that, you're gonna be exhausted, because my work ethic is crazy. So if you can't keep up.
You're gonna be exhausted anytime you can't like own you and just be you. When you gotta be somebody else, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
When you can't walk in and stay in your own lane, be in your own space, and fully execute that to your full potential, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
Let me just looking at people in the movies playing another character.
How they be talking about how they felt after they played that character. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go into the movie too much, but Sinners.
Michael B. Jordan said he experienced a lot of different emotions with that.
Yeah, we're going to leave that there, but yeah.
Playing into a character. You wake up every day, you playing a character.
2.
Come on now.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like, just being somebody else, that's just too much. And I just noticed that you go through that like growing up. As a kid, trying to find out who you are.
I did that a lot. I did that a lot. Yeah, because there was no one like me. And I don't mean that in an arrogant thing. There was nobody doing the things that I was doing where I lived. There was nobody painting. There was nobody doing poetry. There was nobody doing that. And I was like an anomaly in a way. And it was like, I was different. I was weird. You know what I'm saying? I got bullied when I was younger. But then when I really found out who I was becoming and who I really was, when I started learning about myself, man, I was like, yeah, I became a little like, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but I just became more like, I don't give a damn what you got to say about me. I'm going to live my life the way that I want to live it, how I want to live it, because you ain't the God over my life. So.
And just going through that part, and you keep things so bottled up, it turns into aggression. Because until you get to the point where you really understand how to articulate how you feel and what the feeling actually is.
Yeah.
So I understand that. We're almost towards the end, but can you share an instance where a personal loss or challenge significantly influenced your growth and your artistic direction?
Shoot. I mean, I just pretty much just that from 2020 to 2021, everything that I lost was like, it was very, very, it was life-changing, man. It was life-changing. And I think had I not shifted, I would have failed with all of that. Like I would have, I would have still been down. So I think that losing my brother, losing my sister, having to go through a divorce after only being married 6 months, but with a person almost 8 years, doing all like, but I am a person that, listen, I will leave a situation. So, if that gives you some context, hey, I'm not going through anything that I don't have to go through. But all of those things, it changed me for real. And I think it changed me for the better now, but where I was, it changed me for the worse. And I had to get better,
Man, life be making so much sense after the more you experience it. So it seems like it always will change you for the worse, though. Say like we were just talking about to go into the gym. You go to the gym today, tomorrow you're gonna be sore. It's gonna be the pain first before you get the results you want. So I think that's just how life works. It's gonna change you for the worse first. But think about that plant that got to grow through the concrete, that rose that got to grow through the concrete. It's going to hurt. I bet that hurt.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's me. That's how I feel about life. Yeah. That's real, man. You just got to know how to come out on the other side, but you got to have something powerful to lean on other than yourself.
A deity. Yeah. Yeah. In what ways do you channel difficult experiences into your art to foster healing and connection?
What ways do I channel it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's something I can't describe for real. It's just, I just know how to do it now. Like is just a thing that I've trained for. And that's when you come
Yeah.
from places I come from, you learn how to you train for it, for real.
train
It's
for
like
it.
boot camp. Like me, I was in the Air Force. It's like you train to kill. And when I say kill in this aspect of my life, it's like if I gotta kill this trauma, if I gotta kill this
Yeah.
depression, if I gotta kill this stress, you know what I'm saying? So I trained for it since I was a kid.
And you just channel it. Now you know, okay.
Yeah.
You know what they're saying? They say the way you do one thing, you do all things.
Yeah. I look at it in a way of like I said, like doing everything with excellence. And then I have this phrase that I say, and it's copyrighted before anybody try to steal it. Envision it, write it down, execute it. Because if you can envision it, you was meant to do it. You can write it down, you was meant to keep it. But if you can execute it, listen, that's a whole different type of ball game right there. So that's something that I live by. If God told me to put it down, it's meant to be in the world. Now, how long it takes, it just depends. Love After Death, it started in 2022. It's 2025. The book will be out this year, though.
It's just you just spoke about what a creator is.
Yeah.
God did the same thing.
Yeah.
You said, think about it, write it down, and execute. That's a creator.
Yeah.
So last question before we get up out of here. If you could encapsulate your journey in a message into one powerful word or phrase to leave with the audience, what would it be?
Resilience. If I could give that word.
Man, listen. Out of all the things that I expected you to say, I did not expect you to say that because that is my favorite word.
Wow.
I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
That is powerful.
Resilience. Yeah. If you can have resilience, listen,
Wow.
you unstoppable.
Wow. That's powerful. That was a message right there. I had posted the other day, I put on there, if you had to describe me in one word, my uncle put on there resilience. That's why it hit different. That was good. That was a good piece.
Yeah. That's why you are where you are. Like, and that's why I come to you, even get my hair cut or just chop it up with you and stuff like that, because the way you do things is with excellence. How this room looks is excellent. How your studio space, your barbershop space looks, it's excellent. You do things with meticulous detail. And that's why I connect with you, because I know if you're doing it, if your hands are on it, you're going to take care of it, and you're going to make sure that it's right. So,
and I'm gonna keep pushing into it. Even like you said about the excellence part, like when you was speaking about yourself, like you gonna keep going until it's done right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad we was able to have this sit down. We got to have another one too.
Me
after
too.
after the book.
Yeah. The book is, listen, and this ain't going to be released yet, I know, because we still working on, but the book, I'm super excited about it. Like, I'm doing some things I haven't even done with the books before, just like really, really pushing this. Like, there's an album coming with the book. Like, I'm going to let you hear something before I leave, but yeah.
Okay, man. We're glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
And I'll see you your next appointment.
Yes, sir, you will. A couple weeks. I appreciate you, man.
All right, definite. Signing off, Mr. Pringles the Barber, a.k.a. AlwaysKuttn Ted Honcho. I am him, not them. I am him, not them.
Yeah.
The chocolate.